Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to hell. In this episode, this special episode of the weekly news, we are going journeying back into Diablo 4 as it got itself a little bit out of the water after the last almost year of release. Along with that, we will be looking at all of its new systems coming up in Season 4. So join us as we take a trip back to hell, back to see Lilith and all of our lovely, lovely friends in Sanctuary. Here we go. An update coming to gamers everywhere via a Campfire Chat announcement. Diablo 4's Season 4 will be delayed by a month from its initial planned release date of April 16th and now will arrive on May 14th, 2024 instead. However, in the same Campfire Chat with Diablo 4 team directors, Blizzard included a huge reveal regarding the upcoming seasonal content of Season 4 to make up for this delay. Apparently, Season 4 is so large. Oh, really now? Well, that's what he said last night.
That's what she said.
And so different, some have been so bold as to suggest this overhaul might as well be called Diablo 5. As most viewers are already aware, Diablo 4 released as a major hit, but when players began to make it to post-endgame content, found the game was, shall we say, less than complete. It was a piece of crap, guys, a boring piece of crap, and most players quit, including myself, before even Season 1 began. So before we get into it, this is a long one, guys.
That's what she said.
So get your cuppa and relax. So first up, and by far the largest reveal of the newest season, was the intended changes devs plan to make towards itemization, focused on giving players more of a story and challenge to finding set gear, with phrase quality over quantity, and less sorting, more slaying, being repeated several times while addressing the format for itemization in Season 4. So these updates include the base item updates, which will include changes to how items generate affixes and other skill augmentations to prevent these items from giving you several affixes and nothing else to alter your stats. It will also have sacred and ancestral items only dropping in higher world tiers, sacred in tier 3 only, ancestral in tier 4 only, with affixes being more noticeable to your build when they were previously. Legendary items dropped from level 95 plus mobs will now always be a 925 item level, which is the highest item power level in the game, by the way. Gems are simpler and better and will include a much longer crafting tail, suggesting gems will take more time and effort to reach the highest potential power level, but will also generate fewer arbitrary and overly specific stats, which should give us less time sorting items at camp and more time slaying monsters. Additional general changes included reduced item drop rates, caps on rerolling, removal and consolidation of items bogging down inventory space, a welcome change, a change in how uniques will drop, i.e. how many will drop in tier 1 and 2, all can drop in tier 3, and Uber can start dropping off monsters level 55 and up. With the Codex of Power, it will now contain all legendary aspects of the game rather than just a select few that are currently in the Codex. The Campfire Chat gave us some of the in-game footage from their player Edgemaster as he used the Codex to salvage a siege bow. That's right, guys, Blizzard's example featured something labelled as Edgemaster's siege bow while live on YouTube, and none of us can ever forget or unsee or hear that phrase ever again. Edgemaster's siege bow. Edgemaster's siege bow. Oh yeah, giggity giggity goo.
Giggity, 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 ooh, ee, ooh, ting, tang, walla, walla, bing, bang.
In a nutshell, they demonstrated that legendary aspects and the Codex of Power will now be far more relevant, as well as giving players a way to build upon current legendary aspects. Example, you can salvage a 6% aspect, and if you find something better later on, like a 10% of the same aspect, you can salvage that to level up your 6% for the higher 10% aspect to imprint on items moving forward. Aspects will now also have at least 16 ranks as standard. Oh, and most of the Codex of Power features will no longer require speaking to the Oculist and will now be accessible from the in-game menus. All hail Lilith for that one. Tempering will feature additional ways to add affixes to your items, a new gear customization system, which ideally should allow players to further customize gear towards their specific build. Tempering will require the player to collect tempering manuals that will drop at random during gameplay, so no target farming, repetition, and grind is required. Hopefully, and special crafting materials. Manuals that drop are supposed to be more specific towards the current build you are already appearing to be working on with the character, i.e. a bone necro will see more bone necro related skills in their manuals. Players can then take these manuals and materials to the blacksmith to have them temper the manual to the item. However, there is some random chance at this point, as manuals will have more than one affix and the other one affix tempered to your item will be selected at random. Because it just wouldn't be Diablo 4 without more random affixes, would it? With a limited number of rerolls based on the item's tempering durability, i.e. if a reroll for the affix cost 1 durability and the item has a durability of 10, you can reroll the affix up to 10 times. Greater affixes didn't get a whole lot of explanation compared to the rest of the reveal, but they seem to be items that will have a 1.5 multiplier towards affixes max roll, and will also add a little more excitement when they drop to allow players to know immediately and be obvious this item includes greater affixes. Really, all they showed us here was a pair of gloves with a sort of wispy firelight coming from them as the example. I get it if they want to keep the flashy aspect of the overhaul close to the chest for a bigger reaction later, but when it comes to affixes, Blizzard has screwed us up more times than ever before, so it might be best to settle the community's nerves by actually giving us a little bit more information on these greater affixes. Then again, maybe they don't really have everything finalized, which is why the patch is delayed in the first place. Well, duh. There is also a new system called Masterworking, described as a late game crafting system that allows you to upgrade the current level of your items and gear to a higher level, allowing players to keep lower level gear with good stats for their build much longer. While this sounds like a typical item upgrade already featured in the game, it is supposed to be far more powerful and again far more customizable, rather than the previous 5 ranks in the current upgrade system. The Masterworking system will feature 12 ranks. Each rank will increase the level of your item and its affixes by a small amount, with every 4th level upgrading a single affix by a larger amount. The system will also allow players to start over if the end result is not what they expected. You will only lose the consumable materials used in the masterworking process naturally, so items will never be locked out for masterworking. Hey guys, if I can ask for a favor, most of you who watch my YouTube channel are not yet subscribed or press the like button. Trust me, it will help me out more than you know, and I aim to earn it. So please hit the like button to help the YouTube algorithm to promote my videos into the future and to see more gaming content and yours truly. Thank you for your time and your support. Now, on with the episode. And after going over itemization changes and updates for nearly an hour of the Campfire Chat session, we get into what players are really focused on, or at least something I think most would focus on: class changes. You know, the heroes of Sanctuary that we control. I just don't know. So all we know so far is that Season 4 will feature 2 uniques for each class prior to the original one added per season. There will also be an addition of an uber unique called Tyrael's Might, which will be a high armor defensive chest piece. There was a brief touch upon class updates, however they were very general, with a note to players to keep an eye out for the massive wall of class updates, which will be released with the seasonal patch notes closer to the release date. As with the class updates, when getting to the game balance, there wasn't a whole lot of detail without spoiling Season 4 before the release, so they quickly went over how much things will change between now and the launch of Season 4. As they put it, it's a lot. Additionally, expect to see many bugs being fixed, which again is pretty standard between seasons. Pretty much the long and short of this part is that the damage dealt from a flat damage effect included on a legendary item will now scale with the character's weapon damage stats, making these effects into your friends. The elixir of death evasion on hardcore will be removed, and hardcore will go back to its old school format of if you die, you die. 1 life, that's it. Flame Shield will also no longer work as a failsafe proc upon death and will activate after you take a certain amount of damage prior to reaching 0 health and ultimately death. Finally, it turns to the updates for the PTR, the public test realm, which I will touch on slightly since PTR can change at any time. So according to the Cliff Notes, demonic events, or hell tides, will occur at a higher density of features like ambushes and dynamic monsters, a new threat meter build-up while killing monsters, spawning more and more, a new rare summon items dropped during Helltide to summon Blood Maiden as a public event boss, and new mini-events and harbingers. Along with this, Andariel will be added to the boss ladder, so at least Duriel will have some backup. Finally, a new feature called the Pit, which kind of sounds like rifts from Diablo 3. It uses dropped items you find in boss fights. You use these items to access the Pit, where higher and higher level versions of these bosses exist for players to take down in a set amount of time. And just like with rifts, each pit will be randomized in layout and monster population and are intended for rapid progressive challenges for players. Monsters do not drop loot nor give experience, though there is a coffer at the end of each round if you clear the pit. Items dropped from the coffer or chest will include materials for masterworking in the PTR. A note made at the start of the campfire chat that should be made here to viewers interested in the Diablo 4 PTR. It is currently only available to PC players. However, they hope to expand this to other platforms as soon as possible. And that does it, guys, for this lovely edition from hell. I've been your lovely host Jay, and also Matt, who is somewhere probably frolicking around the unicorn dimension right now for Diablo 4 Season 4 coming on May 14th. And of course, I may be just streaming that, so definitely go and check out my live streams on Twitch in the meantime if you so wish, because I am there typically 3 days a week. You can check those links down below. And until then, guys, I hope you keep safe. Until next time, Sláinte.